guys, just setting a few things up. Two videos in 2 days. I just wanted to update on this one because it's an interesting spot at the moment. Just because we're still sort of tapping into the 50 EMA here. Seems to be a bit of support on both the 4 hour and the 1 hour. 4 hours still looks sort of more likely for downside. We've got the RSIs in the bearish control. Cyclic RSI I would consider in the bearish control as well. But the fact that the upper and lower bounds are getting pretty close together means it wouldn't take a lot to actually flip this into bullish control. And the longer the parabolic SAR is in this region, the more likely it is to flip too. So, you know, it's an interesting situation. The medium time frame, which is a 6x multiplier on the 4 hour, so at the daily time frame, the stochastic momentum I would consider as turning down, or it's already turned down. Still quite high, still a lot to go to the downside. That's probably like a weekly, the green one there is like a weekly stochastic momentum, and then that's the current time frame. So it looks like it's actually starting to roll over in the current time frame on stochastic momentum as well. So it's kind of pointing to the downside, but at the same time we're getting a lot of support from this 50 EMA. And then if you look at the hourly, the hourly's getting a lot of support from the 200 EMA. And again, been in a downtrend parabolic SAR for a while now. There's been a lot of volume to the downside that's been stopped by a lot of volume as well. So typically that could be people building long positions, or the market maker, as some people would refer to it. So yeah, we're getting decent volume but not really going anywhere. So I'm expecting something reasonably big. The closer this gets, the easier it is to pop above that and flip this into the bullish control. The cyclic RSI has actually already flipped into bullish control. It's not super convincing, but given that the green line is closer to the midline, it would suggest that we are more likely to be going up from here. The Kalman indicator is turning up as well, although I don't like using that as sort of an indicator of when things are going to flip. As you can see, it sort of jumps around that both times. I use Kalman more for an exit than I do anything. So yeah, in the next day or so, I would actually, potentially tonight's trading session, I think we'll get some sort of direction. Just have a quick look at the NASDAQ. Far out, up 3%. Shit, I didn't even look at that. Nvidia's up there, that's why. So Nvidia smashed their earnings. Yeah, not much else to say other than that, really. So Nvidia's still in the bullish control. Pretty much everything. It will start to get topped out, I think. But at the same time, how do you stop a freight train? This thing could quite easily hit sort of the $900 mark if it keeps going like this, which is nuts. That's, I'll say it's already $1 trillion stock, so you know you're putting $100 plus billion worth of value on it to go that far. So it just seems crazy. But S&P 500 is up as well. finally put in a new high. This was looking quite ominous here. If we had to come down a bit more and put in a lower low, would have started to be a bit worried. But yeah, it's, expect probably a little bit of a pullback and then potentially more upside. There's just nothing at the moment apart from this skew. Where are we? Why does the skew look so bad? So this is interesting, and FX Evolution talks about this quite a lot. Typically when we see a skew get smashed like this and the market's still going up, this is actually a precursor to a drop. It's not necessarily always the case, but yeah, a little bit concerning there. High yield bonds, they're still holding at the moment. So to me, they don't look super convinced about what the market's doing. So just something to be aware of there. So SPY. IWM still hasn't really broken out of this range that it's been in. Look, a lot of these smaller companies are still struggling. This is pulled down by the banking sector quite a bit. But yeah, the industrial XLI is still going strong. That's why it's hard to short a market like this, which kind of suggests, like, when the market's running like this, it tends to be a bit easier for Bitcoin to move up. The only thing being that the dollar has come off a little bit, so just be aware of that. And it looks like the dollar is in a bit of a downtrend, which should actually be bullish for crypto as well. Yeah, it looks like we'll probably enter the bearish control zone for, well, we've just literally on this candle, we're doing it for parabolic SAR. Probably 1 or 2 more days for the cyclic RSI. Potentially the same for the other stuff. So yeah, looks like was kind of expecting, based on seasonals, in election years, that we would actually see about a month worth of down correction for at least the S&P 500 into sort of mid-March, but at the moment there's no sign of that. The VIX is down. It couldn't break above sort of critical levels. If this thing closes above 16, then that's going to suggest that there's some potential pain coming. So just keep an eye on that. Copper's strong. If copper breaks above these sort of levels and holds above there, it's suggesting the whole economy's strong, which is just mental in my eyes. TLT sort of headed down still, so treasuries are on their way down. High yield bonds, yeah, we've covered that. Skew. Gold looks like it's paused a little bit, but if the dollar does fall off, you'd expect gold to rally a bit and at least sort of come back up to these highs, I would think. But we've got to break through these key levels. It is in a bearish posture at the moment, though, for most of these indicators. So maybe one more leg to the downside, we may actually hit this 200 EMA, and then I'd expect a bounce after that. What else have we got? US 2-year, 10-year. Again, it's sort of still waiting. I'm not expecting a recession until this thing gets below 0. Like, if we get below 0, then yeah, I would be expecting a recession pretty quickly. But we're not there yet, so carry on. What else? The Aussie market looks like if the other markets run, if metals run, the Aussie market should do okay. Just do makes okay. Actually. So the energy sector is looking reasonably strong. Looks like it's broken out above the 200 EMA, good retest of it, and now it's going. So supported by everything basically being in the bullish control zone. So yeah, not a lot of bearishness at the moment. The other key with this was the S&P 500 did actually come down and touch the 20 moving average, which basically is the middle of your Bollinger Bands here. So this has been a bit of a support zone within these Bollingers for any sort of pullbacks in this run. So realistically, up and away for a bit longer. That's why you just got to look at the charts and follow what price action is doing. Regardless of what everyone's saying, price action rules everything. This is actually just resetting too. On the daily, we've got a parabolic SAR reset based on this candle. So if this follows through, you'd expect quite a bit more. As to how much more, that's a good question. Just quickly see what an extension is on this pullback. $2,618 maybe. Let's try. We'll do. Yeah, I mean that'd be a pretty good short-term target. 51.79. Probably another little pullback then. That's when we may get weakness for a month or so. Who knows? But yeah, look at your fibs for sort of key levels of next targets. That's about it for today, I think. We'll have a quick look at ETH. Oops, that's not ETH, that's ETH shorts. Bitcoin longs have dropped off considerably, which is interesting. I don't know if anyone was watching previously, but I wanted to see a lot of these longs get removed, and it looks like people that were in these longs from the price was like freaking 36 or so. I think a lot of these started. So some of these longs were underwater for a long time. Finally, they've obviously started to get into profit, and they've actually started to take the profit off the table. So if this comes back down much further, I'd consider that a reset, and I'd be suggesting that we would be looking for more longs to start coming through. But yeah, it's interesting. I actually didn't think that we were going to be able to get down and recover a lot of these. But yeah, it looks like people are taking profit, which is interesting because of as I said yesterday, the inflows to the ETF seem to be offsetting a lot of the selling that's happening from whales and profit taking that's happening. So that's why we're at a fairly critical sort of juncture. Bitcoin dominance is dropping at the moment, so the shitcoins should be running reasonably well. Ethereum looks like it's starting to consolidate a little bit on the daily. Still very much upward postured though. volatility will start to drop, but there's not much to really suggest that we're going to have a big pullback on that yet. So yeah, that's how I'm seeing things at the moment. Not a lot of reason to be bearish. If we break below that 5100, then yeah, maybe. Alright, have a good day. Catches.